No, I think what we do.
Alright guys, so I got the Rasa coffee at Rasa Coffee, and oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, I was ranting in my story about it on Instagram, and it is literally one of the best lattes I have ever had in my life. And I've been living for a long time, a whole 29 years, but I've been drinking coffee for a short period of time. This is good. It has ground cardamom, cinnamon, and organic espresso in it, and the milk is so smooth, frothy. Like, you can see the foam on top of this milk. I guess you can't really, but it is so nice, and it's perfect. It's just so nice and frothy, but it is delicious. So cheers to Rasa for making one of the best lattes. And the guy in there right now is killer at doing his job. So we're gonna start answering your questions for the week. What do you do for accessory work? How often do you do them? So I usually do accessory work at least 2 times a week, it looks like it right now. It just depends on how much extra work I need to be putting in to the smaller muscles, or how much I need to be strengthening like specific muscles to improve them for the clean and jerk and snatch. Doing like abs, Russian twists to get my core strengthened, and those oblique muscles strengthened for the bottom of the catch position, because I don't seem to brace my core, but a lot of that bracing has to do with learning how to brace. So we've been doing a lot of breathing work before I train. Usually we do about, I want to say 3 rounds of different types of breathing exercises, and you can actually see the breathing exercise video on my YouTube page. So it's called Breathe Fixing the Anterior Pelvic Tilt. Check that out if you're interested in the breathing drills that I do. I also, for accessory work, do back raises, weighted pull-ups, and weighted plank. So often in weightlifting, we're focusing on the bigger muscles with the snatch, clean and jerk, squat, just jerk drills, any drills, and we're not focusing so much on like the little baby muscles. So it's nice to have at least 2 times a week where I'm doing accessory work to improve those little smaller muscles, and also it helps improve my overall strength in general, because those baby muscles are used just as much as those big muscles are used during the snatch and clean and jerk. Do you have deload weeks, and how do you train them? I do not have deload weeks anymore. I used to have every 4th week was my deload week, and I loved it. But now, since we only have 2 years left leading up to the Olympics, I have to get as many weeks of training in as possible, so we can't take full weeks off of training or go super, super light for, you know, a whole week. So now we basically take we take a little less intensity, less volume throughout a couple days of the 4th week, which normally is deload. So basically what we do is we do a little deload Wednesday, and then amp it back up on Friday. So not a true full deload week, just a few deload days during that 4th week, or whenever I need it leading up to competition. Sometimes we train 6 weeks in a row, and it's all hard training. There's really no off days except my rest day on Sunday. So it all depends on where I'm at within the year. Since I am going to strive to be on world team, Pan Am team, and all those bigger international competitions, my training regimen is going to look different than a lot of like people's training regimen that are just trying to make like nationals, or just doing local comps, or even just doing weightlifting for fun. I'm going to have less completely off days, and I'm going to have more training days, so I can get as many lifts in this year as possible. So actually this is kind of cool. So we looked at it like this. we were talking about like, what should I weigh, right? So if I weigh 52 kilos, like not like before competition, if I'm weighing 52 kilos more often, then I can train more lifts more often at a higher intensity and more volume, right? Then if I weighed 51 kilos, I would have a little less intensity, less volume, and I wouldn't have as many reps and sets, right? Because I'm smaller and my body wouldn't be able to handle it. If I'm a little heavier, like by 1 kilo, my body can handle more reps, more volume, more intensity, more sets, etc. So the more reps, the more sets I get in 1 year at 52 kilos is gonna benefit me better than if I weigh 51 kilos and get less reps and less sets in for that year. So I could be getting like 2,000 snatches in 1 year versus 1,500 snatches in 1 year because I weigh so light. I'm not able to push the intensity or volume. I hope that makes sense, and I really hope that answers your question. How do you pace yourself while doing your lifting sets at a competition? So at a competition, what I focus on is where, actually, shoot, what am I talking about? Max does all this. So I don't focus on anything. I focus on lifting. I don't pace myself at all. What I like to be paced at is usually about 1 minute, 45 seconds between each snatch, or 2 minutes between each snatch. And then I like to, before I enter platform for my first lift, I like to have at least 2 to 2.5 to 3 minutes rest before I attempt my first opening weight. And then the rest, I don't lift after my first opener. Unless I'm at an international meet and I'm like one of the first up to lift, then that means like I'm going to be like really far out for my second lift, maybe, depending on like what we jump to. So I might have to take a lighter weight in the back just to feel the bar. But normally what I do for a lifting competition during snatch is I usually just go, actually, you know what? This is how I'll just tell you how I make my lifts. I do bar twice, 35 kilos twice, 45 kilos once, 50 kilos once, 55 kilos once, 60 kilos once, 65 kilos, 68, 70, 73, and that's usually what I take, and I usually open with like 76 or 77. So that's kind of how I like gauge my sets in the back for competition. But Max takes me through all those, so the amount of rest I get can vary depending on when I'm up to lift my first attempt, or how far out, or like how many girls are there opening with the same weight, etc. There's so much that goes into it. For the clean and jerk, I usually take bigger jumps because I'm like, it's a super big lift and I'm already super tired from snatching super heavy weights, and it's a really long, extensive warm-up I have for the snatch. So clean and jerks, I like to make bigger jumps. For example, one of my bar warm-ups looks like I take bar once, then I take 55 kilos, I take 65 kilos, I take 75 kilos, 80, 85, 88 or 89, then I do like 93, and then I go open at 96 or 97, and that's usually how my clean and jerk goes. It goes really well. Try to save my energy because it's a lot of kilos being lifted on stage for a little chick, and my weight cut is already super hard, so I definitely feel it by the time I'm getting ready to start clean and jerk. Feeling pretty tired. But I do refuel in between clean and jerk and snatch. That helps a lot. So that's kind of how that looks. I usually like to take 2 minutes between clean and jerk attempts, but like almost 3 minutes as well. But I like 3 minutes before I enter the platform to rest before I hit my first opener. So that's kind of how I pace myself during my lifting and competition. But like I said, it just depends on like when I am to lift, if I'm first or if I'm last. I hope that helps, and I hope you guys love this one. If you do, comment below, like the video, and we will have more. I hope you guys like it. I'll see you later.